Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Average Joe Dividends YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to show you my May budget. And what I do is every single month I track my expenses, my income, and my net worth. I know there's apps out there that can track all this for you, but I'm really old school with it. I think you should write it down, either in a notebook or preferably in a spreadsheet like I've got right here. And I'll leave a link below so you can use this simple sheet for yourself. And all I do is every time I spend any money, whatever it is, I will put it down in the sheet right here under the expenses. I'll just put the date, the business, the amount, and I just have some simple categories. What I don't do is I won't budget out like I'm going to spend X amount of dollars for groceries or X amount of dollars for a restaurant, things like that. What I try to do is I try to remain fairly frugal, and I will just stay within my means and try not to spend more than my W-2 income. So we can see here I've had several expenses throughout the month, and you can see the largest one, of course, is my mortgage, and that's one I'm trying to eliminate. So it's just going to be taxes and insurance, hopefully pretty soon, and that'll reduce it down to about between $400 and $500 every single month. But nothing crazy this month that came out from the month of May. There's some things that I bought, for myself as well as for my car here. There's some expenses for that, but nothing too crazy out here. Really, the only unexpected that I had was my leaf blower died, and I like to use gas-powered like 2-cycle leaf blowers, and my last one lasted me like 25 years, so it did great, but this cost me nearly $200 for that. And so we can see the total number of expenses. What I like to do is I want to make sure I'm not spending more than my W-2 income. I don't even include my dividends or interests or other things like for surveys, or if I sell something on Facebook Marketplace, or if I happen to get money that month from YouTube. I don't like to count that. I like to have the W-2 gap, and you can see that right there, what that is. And we can see the expenses, the breakdown here, and it looks like housing, that's 40% of my spending. And a lot of people say you shouldn't spend more than 30%. Well, I keep my spending down in a lot of other areas. Like I don't have a car payment, I don't have student loan payments, I don't have credit card payments that I'm making monthly. I just pay them off every single month. So it kind of skews my housing a little bit higher as a result. If I had a car payment, it would probably lower my housing payment. It would probably put housing in 30s or around there. Or if I had other expenses that most people have, it would lower my housing percentage. So that's why that's higher there. So I just put some highlights in here, just things that I do, and just some facts, throughout the month. Like my credit card balance, as I said before, I pay those off in full. We can see I have a 2% cash back credit card. I believe in using those. Dave Ramsey would disagree. And for most people, he's right. Most people don't feel the pain when they swipe their credit card. And that's why I think listing down all my expenses, I try to make my expenses hurt. So the minute, not exactly the minute I incur an expense, but that day I'm putting in the expenses that I have. So I kind of make them, quote, hurt. So I actually feel the pain of spending that money rather than just seeing it in a credit card statement at the end of the month. And that's where that can get some people in trouble. And one way I lower my expenses is I use Mint Mobile for my cell phone, and it comes out to right about $200 a month. I'll leave a link below if you want to use them, and just use me as a referral, and it helps the channel out if you do that. And I do surveys with Swag Bucks, and in the month of May, I made $75 in cash from Swag Bucks, and what I do is when I get to the $25 level, I will then redeem those to PayPal. So then PayPal is sending me $25. So I redeemed 3 of those in the month of May for $75. And then also, I invest in dividend paying stocks. And the total of those paid me in the month of May was $714. And I'll get more into those in a little bit once we get to the income side here in just a minute. And then I made $254 in savings account interest as well. And then just to show you, you're just kind of let you know, I have two paid off cars. I have no student loans and no credit card debt. And I know nobody's perfect. I have been in credit card debt before when I was in my 20s, like early mid 20s, and just getting my college degree and things like that, where my earning power was very low, and I was going to school at the same time, and my ex-wife was as well, and we had a little bit of student loan and credit card debt there that we were able to pay off quite rapidly once we got our in-office jobs. So we'll go to the income side of it. I track everything from interest, W-2, and in this month I got 3 paychecks, and we can see those right there, and that really increased my W-2 gap. You can see it was $2,300 for the month of May, so it was quite nice. And then you can see some things like dividends, like Verizon. This is usually on this side of the ledger, but I own quite a few shares of Verizon stock, and then the quarterly dividend was $61.90. I even track things where I found a quarter on the ground, and I spend those like when I go to Walmart, Super Target, the grocery store. I'll just use self checkout sometimes, and I'll put that quarter in there and lower my bill by 25 cents. And here's the survey, one of those that popped in. I'll leave a link below to Swag Bucks, and if you sign up, I get a $3 bonus for that. If you like to browse the internet a lot, you can instead of just browsing and shopping, you can take surveys at Swag Bucks and make money like I do instead. Here's Synchrony interest. This is from my 1-year emergency fund sitting out there, and that gave me $156 in interest alone. Like Lowe's, this is usually over on this side. Lowe's paid me a dividend. Same with American Express. A lot of people are paying credit card, interest over here. I own some shares in American Express. And there's more surveys. Apple dividend. You can see some things like Procter & Gamble. Everyone knows what other products that Procter & Gamble make. Here's my other paycheck, Caterpillar, and then YouTube income. I don't get paid every month from YouTube, and it's usually probably every third month or so that I'm receiving just a tiny bit of YouTube income, just a little over $100. Last paycheck, more surveys, found a penny there, and then here is a monthly paying dividend. It's a ticker symbol BST, and what I do with these dividends, you can see I receive here. What I do is I drip them or reinvest them back into the stock that paid them. So every time, like PNC, then its next dividend is going to be higher and higher. And same with Lowe's, and same with BST. Those dividends just keep getting larger and larger every single month. So here was all of my income for the month of May at 94, 52, and 21. You can see that's a lot more than what I spent. So that is what can build you wealth. If you have the inverse where you're spending this much, and then you're only making this much, you can get in huge trouble. You're just digging yourself into a larger and larger hole. But in my case, when I have expenses much lower than my income, my net worth is going to grow. And we'll go over my net worth here. And over at Vanguard, I have an IRA, and I have a taxable brokerage account. What I've done is I've taken the close at the end of the month, rounded it to the nearest $100. Then over at M1, I have another IRA over there at $698K. And then at T Rowe, I have my 401K over there at over $100,000. Here's my 1-year emergency fund over at Synchrony. Then at Capital One, I leave like 2 months of spending, and so no more than $10,000 usually. And once I have more than $10,000, I'm going to move it on over to Synchrony. And then over at M1, I have a taxable stock brokerage account. And then M1 Savings, I have an M1 Savings account over there. And when I invest more money, it usually, it comes from this account and moves over to the M1 taxable. And then here's my home equity. So we can see what my total net worth is at $1.765 million. You can see that's the breakdown, of course, we just went over. Then what I'd like to do is just kind of track the change from month to month and see how it's changed. And from April, just last month, my net worth went up $98,100. And then the change from a year ago, it went up $167,500 just in 1 year. But look at 2 years, my net worth has gone up $459,200, and this is on a modest income. You can see just the power of the stock market here. Of course, the prior month, April, was a bad month. We'll just go back in time. I'll show you. I have good months, I have bad months, but overall, though, just my net worth just keeps climbing. Like from March to April was not good. Went down over 58K. We'll look at March and we'll see that was a terrible month. And my net worth from the prior month there went down 73,700. We'll look and see if the slide was still continuing, minus 11,000. Go to January. Now it's up 47. But I'm just trying to give you an illustration that I'm up big time sometimes and I'm down. So I don't panic. I could go down down $100,000. But you can see though, overall though, I just keep going up, but I'm not where this is, I think my all-time high is at right here in November of 24. So we are recovering, and June has been good. So I'm back at the 1.8 million, but we're not quite where we were in November. But once that full recovery does happen, it's going to rebound and keep going up even more. But it's just want to kind of illustrate, it's a little bit of a rocky roller coaster ride, and the swings are big. Once your net worth gets up there a little bit, you're going to have huge swings. So while this is nice to see this recovery, I don't know. I mean, June's not even over, and it could go down even more, and lose, more than what I've gained. I just don't know where my net worth is heading. So that's all I had to show you guys for this video, and I just think it's really important to track your expenses, look at your income, and you want to make sure you have a gap here. And there's a W-2 gap, and then the W-2, here's the gap when you include interest, surveys, Facebook, and YouTube. It's $2,700. So just kind of wanted to show that to you guys, and you should be tracking this, because if you don't track this, you don't know where your money is going, then you're not going to build, any meaningful wealth at all. So thanks for sticking to the end of the video. If you get value from this video, please click the like button. Also subscribe. My next video is going to be my Monday buy video, what I do with the taxable brokerage account, which is right here, and that's where most of these dividends are coming from, like for Verizon. And then, the BST, or actually all these dividends for the month of May came from just this portfolio here. And on Monday morning, what I'm going to do is I'll deposit $100 into the account, and then I let Auto Invest work its magic, and it's going to buy into the underweighted portion of that portfolio. Then on Wednesdays, usually lately it's been Wednesdays, I'll deposit another $100, and then I pick 5 stocks to buy $20 worth of that stock. And I show you what the next dividends are going to be for those stocks, as well as for the month and the quarter and for the annual for the portfolio. So thanks again, everyone. I hope everyone has a great rest of their weekend. Everyone take care.